Okay, Varro agriculture, part 5. But since I've said or spoken about the beginning and the bounds or ends of what's included in agriculture, there's left how many parts that are had in this discipline, how many parts it should be divided. This must be seen is the must be in the videndum gerund. It seems to me, said Agrius, innumerable indeed parts to me when I read many books, Complores books of Theocrastus, which are inscribed history of plants and something to do with vegetation. Stolo inquited, he said, Isti libri, these books are not so idoneous or suitable to those who want to cultivate the land, and the tam and its quam correlative, than as to those who are in schools of philosophy. So it's not as suitable for agriculture, so it must be a philosophical book. Neither am I saying this in that they not have some use in communal crossover, I suppose. Certain, to some extent there, they've got useful things in it. But counter this, wouldn't you rather, explain is the verb. I'm going to, it looks actually like a imperative. Place out, wouldn't you rather expose or something like that for us, these parts which are more suitable to agriculture than philosophy. I guess that's what this imperative is about. Scroffa inquired, of agriculture, there are 4 parts, summa, there are the most important divisions are in the 4 parts. From quiz, it's a bit short for quibus, from which are the first knowledge of the farm, how these types of things affect the soil or the soil tillage, so these sort of things. The second thing, which is an opus sint, things which are needed in the ablative in this farm, so tools, and they ought to be known about for the sake of agriculture. The third, in your pradio, that's the same as farm basically. So thing of cultivating the soil and digging the soil and what facienda, what should be done. And the fourth is in which time of year that's fitting for these things to be done in the farm. So he's used fundo 3 times for farm and once pradio. Concerning these, there are 4 parts in general. Of each single one, at a minimum these 4 must be divided into 2 parts, benesis 2. So there's 4 parts, each divided in 2, which has its, first of all, the things which are pertinent to the soil of the type of land they have there, and again, what is to the villas and the stables where you put animals. The second part is which things are moved and ought to be moved in the farm for the sake of agriculture. So they didn't have tractors, but you'd move other things. This is bipartitioned as well into 2, concerning the humans, the people, through which the land is cultivated, and the other part is the instruments, the hoes and mattocks and etc. So the third part's concerning how things are divided in these matters, and how they must be prepared for each matter, as rem and rebus, and where they should be done on the farm. The fourth part is concerning the weather, as we said, or time of year. These refer to the circuitness of the sun during the year, the sun going around the sky, and also to the course of the moon in its monthly wanderings. Concerning the first, what have we got here? I shall say the prior of the 4 parts, and then more subtly or more detailed, follow that with the 8 divisions. Chapter 6. Therefore, first, concerning the soil of the farm, these 4 things must be seen, which is its the formation of it, in which type of land it is, how big it is, quantus, and through which, how can it be tutored, how can it be safe in itself, protection. The formations of land, that come into 2 genres. One is which is given by nature, and the other which is placed on the land by people sowing it and cultivating it. The prior, which is one field which is naturally born by nature of good nature, and the others badly presented by nature, posterior, the second. Which fundus again, farm. So there's four. This is the third part. One which is well been made by agriculture and sowing things, and the other which has been done badly. I shall speak of the previous one, the formal one concerning nature. Okay, so it's concerning natural land formations. And then, therefore, there are three types of simple appearances of fields. The campestry ones, which are plains, collinum, which are a bit hilly, and the mountainous ones. And out of these three, you can actually get a fourth in your farm, which is a combination of two or three of these conditions. Especially in a big farm, you might have some flat lands and then have a hilly place next to it, as is permitted to be seen, or as one can see, in many locations. From which, three, fastigious is high places, one of these simple divisions, without doubt. And there's the lower ones, there's another form, which is more apt to low places for cultivation than the high places. This is because summer places, the highest places, are more hotter, and thus hills, which are in the middle, they're a bit more temperate or tempedoria. They're warmer than the bottom ones or the higher ones, so they're probably, you can do a lot of things on hills that you can't do at the top of a mountain, etc. These things are apparent more to be thus in the wider regions. When they're simple, or these wide regions, you can tell the difference between the heat, I suppose. And so, where there are wide plains, there it's more eastus hot, as in it's more as in the place of Apulia, where it's hotter and more burdensome with sweating or something. And where it's mountainous, as in Vesuvius, where it's thinner air, I suppose, Livoria, it's lighter, harder to breathe maybe, and for this reason, somehow, it's salubrious, more salubrious. Those who cultivate in the downwards regions, they labour more in summer, and sursum or susum, one of the variants, it's they suffer more in winter. Might as well Google one of these. Okay. Susum, adverb, up on high. There you go.